When he received his lunch, he handed the vendor a $20 bill and waited. And he waited. And he waited. Until he had ran out of patience. The Buddhist looked at the vendor and says, "Where is my change?" The vendor just smiled and replied, "Change comes from within." Change comes from within. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I don't know who needs to hear this today, at least not specifically, but I have my suspicions. So everybody's going to hear it today. Get rid of it. There's a popular TV show, comes on A&E Network, and it's been on the air since 2009. This show was now on Netflix, and you may have heard of it. It is called Hoarders. It is a show that covers the lives of individuals who suffer from what the DSM-5 classifies as hoarding disorder. That is when a person finds it painfully difficult to discard or part ways with their possessions because they perceive the need to save stuff. People that suffer from this hoarding disorder experience distress at even the thought of getting rid of things. They excessively accumulate items, newspapers, clothes, paperwork, books, sentimental whatnots, and even pets. They have people that collected 50, 70, 100 cats in their yard, house, and all around their area. But they would gather these things regardless of the actual value that they possess. People start showing signs of hoarding as young as 11 years old. Over time, this will create a cramped living space, living conditions in their apartment or houses, and the homes get filled to capacity. They have narrow hallways with things just all around, stacked with clutter. Countertops, sinks, stoves, desks, stairways, and all other surfaces get piled up with stuff. And when there's no more room inside, stuff starts to flow outside, into the garage, into the car, into the backyard, or even the shed. Now on the show, it features some of the most extreme cases of hoarding and hoarding disorder. And some of these folks are facing eviction because of their problems. Some of them are facing losing their children, or even losing their pets, or even facing jail time if they don't clean up their mess. Because they just won't let things go. You gotta let things go. They're holding on to things that they have no need for, at least in the present time, and or things that they have no space for. What are you holding on to? I heard rapper singer Andy say that if we own something that we can't depart with, then we don't own it, it owns us. Amen. And Paul tells the church in Ephesus, what I'll tell the church today, which is some of you are hoarding, and you have some things you need to get rid of. You say, Pastor, my house is clean. It's spotless. I keep things neat and in order. I'm more OCD than hoarding. Yes, Maybe literally the house is clean, or figuratively, you may be the worst kind of hoarder. Holding on to things that you have no use for. Holding on to things that you have no space for. Emotional hoarders. You're still bitter about a girl that dumped you your freshman year in high school. You're still upset with the lady that you didn't like at a job that you haven't worked at for years. There's still renting space in your mind. You're chilling with your new guy, but you're thinking about your ex who's moved on. Emotionally hoarded. Spiritually hoarded. Trying to fit things of the world into your Christian life. The church in Ephesus were pagans before converting to Christianity, and they didn't easily let go of a lot of the practices and traditions that they had in their past lives. And this just created clutter and confusion. When we're making God into our image instead of realizing that we are made in His. Lastly, we're hoarding sin. Not getting rid of things that will inevitably lead to a negative outcome if we don't. In the case of the TV show, people face eviction, losing their children, pets, or facing jail time. And Paul calls these things out. He says some of the things that the church has been holding on to and needs to get rid of are, first, falsehoods. This is the church in Ephesus, a lot of the church today need to get rid of falsehoods. Sometimes we like to say things because they tickle the ears. Maybe it'll increase the giving in the church if I say the right things. Maybe I can get the right donors if I rub the right person's back. And Paul says to get rid of the falsehoods. Amen. Then he says to get rid of all bitterness. Bitterness with each other. Bitterness that we have with people that don't even come to the church anymore. Bitterness that we have with family members or co-workers or people from ages ago that we hold on to, that we say in our mind, if I ever run into her or run into him, I'm going to let them know how I feel about something they did 10, 15, 20 years ago. That they don't even think about but still rents space in your mind. Paul says, let go of that bitterness. Let go of wrath. Get rid of it. You're hoarding wrath. He says, let go of anger. Let go of clamor. That's shouting and arguing. And he says, let go of slander. Along with all malice. It must be removed. We're holding on to things that we need to let go of. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. To get rid of something is to make yourself free of it. There's some things that are stressing you out that have happened and are in the past. Move on. There are some baggage that you're carrying. You're judging your new relationships by how your old relationships happened. And that's not fair. Move on. Let go of that baggage. Get rid of it. Stop hoarding it. It's crowding the space. It's taking up too much room. You have no use for it at all. Get rid of it. To get rid of something is to be relieved of it. No longer encumbered, but disencumbered. No longer hindered or hampered. no longer blocked or backed up, no longer weighed down, burdened, or indebted. Get rid of it. How do I get rid of all this emotional baggage, spiritual things that have piled up, all this simple stuff that I've accumulated over all these years? How do I just get rid of it? That seems difficult. How do I get rid of it? There was a survey online, more of a questionnaire. Some people who struggle with hoarding reached out and they asked, how can I get over this problem that I have? People are telling me that I have this problem. I have friends and relatives that won't visit because really there ain't no place to sit when they do come over. And it's hard for me to really maneuver through my own place. I have just a narrow path to the kitchen, to the bathroom, and to my bedroom because I've been holding on and not being able to let go of so many things. And so they reached out, and one of the writers for this website said there are 5 steps that you can take. Now I'll paraphrase these steps, and I'll probably butcher it. I couldn't find it again, but he said there's 5 steps that you can take in order to get over or relieve yourself of your hoarding problem. And I think that these steps will be useful for us in our Christian walk. I'll list out the steps and then we'll go on to it. It says the first thing you need to do is make a list of things that you must keep and some things that can go and everything in between. Then it says make a list of the things that you won't need for the next 6 months and that you haven't used in the last 6 months. He says, move it out before you toss it out. He says, start simple and small. He says to be persistent and patient with yourself and others. So making a list of things that you hold on to, that you need to let go of. And there are some things you need to keep. But most things just take up space. It says there's some things you write down that you must keep. It's just so valuable to me. My grandmama gave me that chain. Can't get rid of it. It has intrinsic value and worth. But you're holding on to cassette tapes and VCR tapes, and you don't even have a VCR or a cassette player. Those things are wasting space. You're holding on to bitterness from a girl from elementary, or the guy who bullied you in 6th grade. Let it go. He's not gonna bully you anymore. She's not gonna break your heart anymore. There's some things that we may hold on to, or some things that you've held on to because it protected you. I kept this attitude because I was afraid to let people in. I've been hurt before. I've been damaged before, and so I use it as a shield. I'm really loving, but I'm afraid to love, and I push people away because I don't want to be hurt like someone hurt me in the past. And so you push away the people that are trying to enter and really show you love because you're unable to trust. You're unable to let your guard down. Those things you have to get rid of. And even I struggle with things. Sometimes you go into relationships, and I remember telling my wife, I was like, I'm not buying flowers. I'm not buying roses. I can't buy any woman a rose. Because the girl that I bought roses for, back when I was 13 years old, she broke up with me a few months later. So I can't get you any roses. Imagine that. And I think I was in my 30s before finally getting over that. We hold on to things, or we treat people according to how other people treated us. That's not right. We have to be able to love and love again. Being loving and open to love does make you vulnerable, but you have to be vulnerable to really experience love. And to really experience love, you got to get rid of the bitterness that clouds and takes up that space. Let your guard down. There's some things you have to let go of. And there's some things that they said, if you're not going to use it for the next 6 months and you haven't used it in the last 6 months, then you don't need it. See, a lot of hoarders, they hold on to it because they feel like one day I may need it. I don't know when that day is. I don't know when it's coming, but I feel like as soon as I get rid of it, I'm going to need it. As soon as I get rid of my copy of the Tyson fight from 1996 that I have on tape, somebody's going to ask me, hey, you got a copy of it? If you're not going to use it, and you haven't used it, you might as well get rid of it. Might as well not stop letting it take up space and take up time and give room for something that'll be more useful. Don't hold on to things for the sake of holding on to things. As soon as I forgive this person, they just gonna stab me in the back again. They just gonna go about and do the same thing they did before. Let it go. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Then he says, for some people, it's hard for them to just get rid of it. He said, just if it's hard for you to get rid of it, just move it to the side. Move it out before you toss it out. So just, you have to move it out for a while so that you realize that I don't need it. So I can't fully walk in the love that I want to walk in, but let me not walk in the bitterness. I can't really say anything good about the situation, so let me not say anything negative about it. So see, my grandmother told me that if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. So it's a lot of times I sit in places and I don't say a word. Like, brother, you ain't talking. You ain't saying much to nobody. I'm going to just sit here with my mouth shut. Because that's the best thing I can do in the moment. So if I can't say anything good, I won't say anything at all. And we have to be conscious and careful of the things that we say. I think it was Martin Luther who says that the tongue, be careful of the tongue because it's in a wet place and it can slip. So move things out before you can toss it out. And as you start to begin to see that, you know what, I'm getting further along, not holding on to the bitterness. I'm getting further, then it makes it easier to get rid of those things that become a yoke of 1,000 tons around our neck. And he says, start simple and small. Sometimes when we get rid of stuff, first thing we want to do is say, this is my biggest problem. I'm about to get rid of this. We say, you know what, I struggle with whatever your vice is. Paul goes on to a whole list in chapter 5 of stuff that believers struggle with. But you know in your own mind the things that you struggle with. And sometimes we focus so much on the big thing that the little things are the things that kill us. We focus on, God, I need to get rid of my drinking problem. Yeah, you got a drinking problem, but there's some other things you need to get rid of too. That drinking problem can really cloud your mind, really focusing on that you lose touch that all these other things need to be taken care of. So you focus on the baby steps. You get rid of the little things that's in the body. You know what? I have a nagging feeling every time the kids next door are playing playing in the street. They all loud and it just bothers me. First, let me get over being irritated over small things that don't affect my day-to-day life. Let me work on those things. And when I work on those things and those things don't bother me anymore, then I can tackle something a little bigger. And as I tackle these small things, I get the courage and get encouraged to really face the things. Start simple and small. There's some things that you know have no value that sit around the house in your mind. Get rid of that first. Get rid of that first. Get rid of that first. Start simple and start small. Then he says to be persistent but patient. Sometimes because we go after the big thing, we go after the whale first, the Moby Dick, well, we go after the big thing to say, so that we can come and have a testimony and say, I used to drink, I used to do this, I used to be an addict, and God delivered me. And that's the big whale. But everybody looking at you like, that was never a problem for us. The problem for us that you had was your selfishness. That's the thing that affected us. Amen. I knew happy drunks. You would prefer them being drunk. Because when they were sober, you didn't want to deal with them. And I'm just being honest. But he says to be persistent but patient. Because sometimes when we don't achieve the big thing, we get discouraged. Well, God, I've been struggling with this thorn in my flesh for years, and I'm still struggling with it. I prayed about it. I ain't been delivered from it. He says to be patient, to be persistent. While I'm working on this, you go ahead and work on something else. You get rid of something else over here. You get rid of something else over here. You get rid of something else over there. And then you can look at that big old TV from the 90s that took up all the space with the big back, the big floor model. Then we can work on getting rid of that. Be persistent and patient with yourself. We give up on ourselves. We say that we can't. We say that it's too hard. We say that it's too difficult. They say people that struggle with this hoarding disorder, they'll get combative and defensive. They'll explain to you why everything has value, why everything has a reason to stay. But you can look and you can see that it serves no purpose. They have to be persistent. So you're persistent, getting rid of the small things in your life. You have to be persistent and patient with others as they get rid of the things in their life. We can't expect everyone to be where you are. Amen. And you can't expect to be where someone else is. Works both ways. All right. Well, why ain't she? You telling me to clean my room, but look at her room. You telling me to clean my house, but look at her house. Or you go to someone's house and you're like, our house can never be this clean. Comparison is the thief of joy. We have to be patient with ourselves and with others as they declutter their lives. Amen. Some people have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of clutter in their sometimes they would set the house on fire and move somewhere else, get an insurance check. But no. How long will it take someone who accumulated those items over such a long period of time to get rid of them? Getting rid of each item is painful. But God is working on us. Even though we're not there yet, we're pressing towards a mark. there's some things in our lives that we can look back at ourselves and say, you know what? I'm not who I used to be. I've grown in this area. I've grown in that area. I'm still growing in this area, but I'm trusting God because I know I've done things here and I've done things there, that He can grow me here also. We trust God even in the midst of the clutter. Because sometimes they say those who struggle have to be willing to let someone else help them. It takes someone else coming and saying, you've got a problem. But I'm not just going to criticize you about the problem that you have. Let me work with you in getting things taken care of. Remove these things. Declutter, to get rid of, to no longer be bound by, it has a sense of being saved from this mess. Been clouded, taken advantage of. And then until we get rid of this stuff, it's hard to really make room for the blessing that God is trying to bestow upon us. God bless me with this new car. Clean your garage. Clean the driveway. God bless me. Bless my finances. Do something with the finances that you have. Be a good steward. There's some things God is dying, figuratively, literally, to give you, but you don't have room for. There's some joy and peace and happiness that God wants to unload in your life, but you're holding on to bitterness, anger, and resentment. Until you let go of that, I can't put anything else in your hand. Let go of it. And let God. He says, in doing this, and letting go of all the things that encumber us, that weigh us down, Paul says, then we can be true imitators of God as His beloved children. Because the weight is off of us, we can then walk in love. It's hard to walk in love when something's pulling on your chain. Amen. It says when we walk in love and we make ourselves an offering and a sacrifice. Sacrificing, I don't want to be sacrificed. Sacrificing, die. And in order to really get rid of some things, you have to die to yourself. Die to yourself. And dying to yourself and being a sacrifice, not a sacrifice that stays dead, but a living sacrifice. And we become a sweet aroma, a sweet perfume to the nostrils of God. One thing about hoarders, when you walk in a house, you can smell it. Especially the ones that hoard pets. You can smell it. Getting rid of that stuff. And let God inhale the sweet aroma. So there's some things that he says we need to get rid of. That takes on a personal responsibility. See, God says that I'll do the heavy lifting. But don't think that you won't have to lift something. Amen. I'll do the heavy lifting. But you still have a yoke to bear. You still have a cross to carry. But my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But you still have to carry. You still have to get rid of some things. Christ says, I'm going to do the heavy lifting. I'll defeat sin. I'll defeat death. And I'm coming back to get rid of them both permanently. There'll be no more sickness. I'll get rid of that. There'll be no more disease. I'll get rid of that. But in the meantime, and in the waiting room, you have some things. We have some things. I have some things I need to get rid of. So, clean your room